Hello, hello, hello. Welcome in, everyone, and happy Friday. You've made it. We don't have football this weekend, but that's okay. We're going to break it down for you right here, Fantasy Life on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam Ronis with you on this Friday morning, breaking down everything for the Super Bowl coming up. Again, no Super Bowl this weekend, Adam, but that's okay. We can get through it. How you doing? How's it going?
Yeah, doing well. It is going to be an odd weekend with no football. First time in a while. Yeah, but we do know the Super Bowl is around the corner, so we are used to this 2-week period between conference championships and Super Bowl by now.
It's a long 2 weeks. I don't like it. Play it the next week. Let's get it going. I don't want to wait any longer. I'm only saying this because the Seahawks are playing.
I think most people agree, though. I don't think people like the 2 weeks.
I mean, it's just, but we get it. They have to set everything up, right? You got to get everything printed. Everyone has to go, everyone has to travel. I get it, but yeah, it's too long for me. Too long to wait for the Super Bowl. It's Groundhog's Day on Monday, though. I just saw that in my calendar. I pulled it up because I didn't know what day it was. I'm going to be totally honest, though. So we have that to look forward to, Adam. Look at that.
Yeah,
more winter for you over there since it's so cold.
10-degree weather.
Is that what it is right now?
I think. I don't know. I know the low, I think today was supposed to be 0 degrees. Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, no. Pass. You only went outside once this week.
No, I went outside more than once.
Okay, you went on your walk one time. How's that?
I didn't go as often. Yeah, right now it's 11 degrees. Feels like 5.
No, absolutely not.
But we get a heat wave starting Monday, 32 degrees.
Wow. Wait, 32 is pretty good.
It is definitely a heat wave for what we've been dealing with.
For everyone who needs to know, Adam did go on a walk. He didn't wear any snow boots, and then he said yesterday morning he was like, "Yeah, my feet were frozen." That's how it went.
Because if you're gonna go on a long walk, I don't want to wear boots.
I mean,
it's not comfortable for your feet.
So you're more comfortable with your feet frozen?
Yeah, I survived.
Okay. All right. Good to know.
Made it back.
To know. We are here, like I said, to make sure that you guys are up to date on all the news. And we actually have, yesterday was another one of those days, Adam, where we had a lot of coaching hires, I should say, offensive coordinator hires. So let's get started breaking those down right here. The long wait for the Eagles to hire anyone to be their offensive coordinator is over. I don't know if we necessarily like this. There's just going to be a lot of questions on some of these new OCs that we know some things about, but they're hiring Sean Mannion as their new offensive coordinator, and he's coming. He's 33 years old, has coached for just 2 years, Adam, and he broke in as an offensive assistant for the Green Bay Packers 2024. He was promoted this past season to quarterbacks coach, and now 2 years in the NFL, he's an offensive coordinator for the Eagles. I was trying to read all the comments, replies. Eagles fans are like, who? What are we doing? I mean, he's either going to be a hero, Adam, and he's going to save him, or this is the hire that might get Nick Sirianni fired. We're going to just have to wait and see.
Yeah, and that's usually the way it goes, but a lot of coaches that were in the mix apparently passed on Philly, so this is what happens. But, he did play and coach under a lot of good offensive minds with McVay, LaFleur, Kubiak, Stefanski, so you have that, and, I think teams also are always looking for that next young offensive mind, and the Eagles believe it's Mannion, so it's another offensive coordinator for Jalen Hurts, but you had to move on, and there was no creativity in the offense this past year. Mannion apparently is going to bring, a lot of motion, things that are needed, because it was just a very stagnant offense that everyone knew what was coming. I mean, you just hear a lot of people who were going opposite Philadelphia, and they were like, yeah, there was no creativity. It was easy to defend them. So that needs to change. And yeah, this is either going to look really good, or they'll be on another offensive coordinator for the 8th time in 8 years.
Gosh, how long can we keep doing this for? I mean, it's one, they have the most, it's not one of, they have the most expensive offensive roster, I should say, in the NFL. Last season, but they finished 19th in points per game, so that it was 22.3 points per game, 24th in total offense, 311 yards per game, and then first in 3 and outs. So they were unable to sustain or support, I should say, their strong defense that they had. So it was just all around bad, and they just couldn't get anything going. Like we talked about in fantasy football, Adam, it was AJ Brown finished with a good enough year, right? And Devontae Smith was able to do it, but it just, you always held your breath the whole way. I had a good amount of Jalen Hurts, I had a good amount of Devontae Smith, and every single time they were out there, it was like, man, it just didn't look like they could get going. So again, another new offensive coordinator. I will say Mannion is, of course they're going to say he's a rising star and all this stuff, but it is a very quick rise for him. This past season, work with Jordan Love, he completed 66% of his throws, 3,381 yards, and then 23 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. So at least we can look at that. But like you said, another new offensive coordinator for Jalen Hurts, which he's used to by now. So it's nothing he hasn't done before.
Yeah, and again, some of the top candidates on the market passed Philly and went elsewhere. So
what do you think that was for? Why they didn't? I mean, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Jalen, you would think that Jalen Hurts overall is almost like a reason to go there. You say, okay, great, I get to coach Jalen Hurts, but there's obviously something doesn't feel right. If it took them this long to find an offensive coordinator, and this is who they landed on. I feel like that was obviously not their top option.
Yeah, maybe they had doubts about Hurts. I mean, that could be it. But again, he did win a Super Bowl, and the pieces are there.
Yeah, he did do that. I've got my article, which we're going to talk about here in a little bit, for my top 15 quarterbacks. FantasyLife.com is where you can go and check that out. But I still have Jalen Hurts as QB6. I couldn't find myself putting him much lower than that. And even then, I was very close to putting him ahead of Jaden Daniels. And once the season starts, they might be flipped here. But I still think that Jalen Hurts, for us and our purposes in fantasy football, there's a reason they fired Kevin Patullo. He was absolutely awful. And but Jalen Hurts has a history of success for fantasy football. He's given us really good touchdowns on the ground. He's averaged he averaged 21 plus points per game in 4 straight seasons, but last season it was 18.6, still QB7 overall.
Yeah, it clearly was a disappointing year. I think if you drafted him, you really weren't thrilled with the results. We did see a career high in touchdown passes with 25. But we also saw one of his worst seasons running the ball, just 421 rushing yards and 8 rushing touchdowns. It's the first time since 2021 that he didn't reach double digits, and 105 carries. I mean, that is a significant decline from the 3 previous years where he was at 165, 157, 150. So it was noticeable, too. There were a lot of times where, they're not running the tush push here. Why isn't Jalen Hurts running? Because, he was one of those quarterbacks that you look at as props, and it was just erratic from week to week. 1 week he'd have 30 rushing yards. The next week he'd have 8. Then he'd have 40. Then he'd have 3. And it was like, what is going on here? And you could see it just in the rushing attempts from week to week. I mean, he had 14 carries in week 1. He reached double digits once the rest of the season.
Yeah, it just wasn't good. I think the thing that would make me move him, though, or push him down a little bit is if AJ Brown does get traded, or it's going to be the same conversation this offseason, it looks like, Adam. But if they decide to ban the tush push, which again is going to be on the agenda, that I think that would make me move him just a little bit. Those are really the only 2 reasons, though. I mean, this hire, again, not necessarily groundbreaking, and we're not necessarily excited about it and running to tell all our friends, but it's not a hire that I'm going to say, I have to push Jalen Hurts down. It's probably going to be a trade of AJ Brown, or if they ban the tush push, which I don't know if they're going to do. They've tried that for how many years now? 3? And it hasn't worked? I don't know.
Yeah, and other teams have been using it now, too.
Exactly. So
including
I don't
your
think
Seahawks.
Hey, that's okay. I like it. You guys can do it if you want to.
Well, they're not going to do it with Dak. I know that.
Well, no. You're pro tush push.
I mean,
you're fine with it.
I'm okay with it. Yeah. I mean, look.
Sometimes it gets a little bit.
It does. I mean, there were
sometimes
periods
it gets a little bit, yeah. Annoying. Yeah. Who was it? Or is Josh Allen when he had the 11, 15-yard tush push?
Yeah.
In the playoffs? That was one
and
I was
then
like,
who
okay.
was it was it Kenneth Gainwell who had like the 60-yard one?
Yes. Like sometimes it does get a little bit. You say, okay, we get it. Or when they just repeat that play the 3 times and you say, okay, is this actually football? But those are probably the only two things that make me push Jalen Hurts a little bit lower. But again, they did get their new offensive coordinators, their old Packers quarterbacks coach, Sean Mannion, as the new OC over there for the Eagles. So we'll see how that goes. Another one is that the Bills, I don't have much information on this yet because it came down just a few minutes ago, but the Bills did agree to terms with Pete Carmichael Jr. to become their new offensive coordinator. So again, Bills are going in a new direction here. We don't have Sean McDermott over there anymore. And so this is Joe Brady's kind of first big hire. So they've agreed to terms with Pete Carmichael Jr., new offensive coordinator. And it looks like he spent the last 2 seasons as a senior offensive assistant in Denver. And then we kind of know him, if the name sounds familiar, he was with Sean Payton, and he was Sean Payton's OC in New Orleans for like 9 years or something like that. So he actually does bring experience to this position, just in a different role the last 2 seasons with the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, he was with the Saints from 2006 to 2023. So
oh, wow. Okay.
With them a long time. But Brady did say he's going to still call plays on offense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Listen, I know this hire was probably, because when we talked about this hire with Joe Brady going in there, it again, I don't know if it was necessarily surprising. I didn't mind it though, because there's going to be continuity. Like he knows Josh Allen. Josh Allen knows him. I think there were reports that Josh Allen had a say in who the new head coach was going to be. And I'm sure that he wanted to stay as close to what was going on before, maybe, as he could, because he's still played stellar. It's not like we haven't seen great play from Josh Allen or great plays from that team. There was just obviously something internal that wasn't right, and they wanted to get through the playoff push. But I did not necessarily hate the Joe Brady hire. It just, if you're trying to tell us that you want to win, and get to the Super Bowl, hiring someone in-house, I think, had a lot of people confused. But I do like that it's going to be, there's familiarity between him and Josh Allen. And now, again, a new offense coordinator, Joe Brady's still going to call plays. I don't mind that.
Yeah, it's crazy how one play or a couple of plays just change a franchise. If Allen hits Dawson Knox late in that game, maybe the Bills are in the Super Bowl. If they don't turn it over 5 times, maybe the Bills are in the Super Bowl, the AFC Championship, and McDermott's still there. So you kind of knew that it was lingering because they just have not been able to get over the hump. And I think as much success as they had, they looked at it and said, you know what? We've been doing the same thing every single year, and it has not resulted in what we wanted. So it's time to make a change. And that's what they did.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, some teams just you get so close every single season, and you just can't. I mean, the closest they got, it was Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs that took them down. So they're trying to do something different here. We'll see again if it works. But Josh Allen, for fantasy football purposes, like he's still, again, we're gonna go through my quarterback rankings. Still my QB1, still probably everyone's QB1, because no matter what's going on internally with Buffalo, he still continues to just impress in every single way. We're still gonna be drafting James Cook, and then that's about it, Adam. Though I mean, we can talk about their tight ends, maybe a late round pickup on one of their wide receivers like Khalil Shakir, but they don't have these stellar playmakers. But besides those two, that we just say we have to have them on our team. And that's the most disappointing part, because we've got Josh Allen QB1 for the last however many years, and we can't use any of his receivers, or we can't feel good about them. It just feels like a waste.
Yeah, the only guy is Khalil Shakir, and that's more in a PPR league, but you also know that the ceiling is not very high. He's good for 8 to 12 points on a given week. He's not a guy that scores a lot of touchdowns. He had 4 during the regular season, and not really a big play threat either. So he would be the one guy, and the numbers have been pretty consistent the last 2 years. 4 touchdowns in each of those seasons, 72 catches, 76, 719, 821 with the yards. So you pretty much know you're getting with him. With Dalton Kincaid, it just comes down to health, and can he run more routes? I mean, I think he was under 50% of the routes for the season. Health is a big factor with him trying to stay on the field, and he just doesn't play enough. It's very difficult in fantasy now, the one good thing is he usually is targeted on those routes when he's on the field, but we still need to see more to feel better about him from a fantasy perspective, because it's just going to be erratic and inconsistent, and then he sits games out. So that's what we talked about. We know Buffalo needs another wide receiver, and we'll see if they make a move here in the offseason.
We'll see. Probably, maybe not, but we'll see. We'll see what they go in with. I know that you're going to be drafting a lot of Keon Coleman in 2026.
Oh
I
yeah,
can feel
definitely.
it.
Yeah.
You're ready for it. Did you see? So Joe Brady commented on Keon Coleman. Did you see that yesterday? Yesterday afternoon, he said, "This is the actual quote that actually made me laugh when I read it. I told Keon when I got hired, the best thing that happened to Keon Coleman was me being his head coach." He said, "I was one of the ones that stood on the table for Keon Coleman, and I believe in Keon Coleman." Which is, I mean, it's nice because he did get dragged in a very public press conference after Sean McDermott got fired. So it was not the best way to start the career with your wide receiver.
Definitely wasn't.
We can say that.
Yeah,
I just don't know.
Too many healthy scratches, discipline issues. Yeah, it's been, usually you're like, oh yeah, rookie year, getting used to the NFL, he'll be better. He got worse.
He was a healthy scratch for 4 games, and then he didn't have 50 receiving yards in a game since the season opener. And then he was benched for a quarter of a game his rookie season too. That was off-field timing issues. And then the other one was that, yeah, he was late to meetings. So we got to clean that up. He's going to be fine.
I think in the preseason, if I remember correctly, his receiving yards was something in the 500, and I wanted to take the under. And then he had 112 yards in week 1. I'm like, oh, good thing I didn't take the under. And then he didn't even come close to 100 yards the rest of the way. In fact, the season high, the second highest mark came in the final week of the season when he had 2 catches for 49 yards.
That's
so 49 yards
bad.
Was the second highest mark of the season. I'm trying to remember, did the Bills rest players that week? They did, right? Yeah, Josh Allen.
Week 18, yeah.
Yeah, I think Josh Allen had 1 snap to continue his game streak. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he didn't even attempt a pass or anything. But yeah, I think he played the first snap. They took him out. So yeah, they didn't. Well, Dalton Kincaid played. Knox played, but yeah,
probably just for a little bit though.
So
they pulled them,
and even with that, he could still only get to 49 yards on 2 catches.
That is so sad. He's still so young. He's only 22 years old. So I mean, he's still really young. Maybe this does change things, but yeah, he's gonna be like a last round fantasy pick. I don't even know.
I mean, they spent an early second round pick on him.
They got to try and
make
it work.
The thing is where they were at that time too. It's like they're on a precipice of trying to get to the Super Bowl, AFC Championship. So when you're drafting there, you're looking for a piece that can contribute immediately. And we knew they always needed receiver help. And for him to come in there and basically do nothing has been a massive disappointment for them.
We'll see if he can get better, Adam. I know that you're going to be drafting a ton of Keon Coleman because you believe in 2026. So we'll see how that works out. The last one here, just to get through all the news this morning, Davis Webb. So he withdrew his name for consideration for the Raiders head coaching job. This looks like maybe going to be able to stay with Denver. We're going to see. I'm expecting that news though sometime today because they're still looking for a new offensive coordinator. So it looks like maybe he's going to be able to go over there. He also interviewed with the Ravens and the Bills, but I think this means that he's in line to become basically the successor to Joe Lombardi, who was fired just a couple of days ago. We're waiting on that one. The Raiders again are waiting for Clint Kubiak. That's all it is. The Raiders and the Cardinals. One of them's going to win that sweepstakes, and the other is going to have to hire someone that's still out there. I couldn't even name anyone that's still out there, but there's obviously a few. So we'll keep our eye on that. And you guys can go to fantasylife.com and subscribe to our newsletter over there. But we've got great articles breaking down the offensive coaching searches and just all the news going around the NFL. So make sure you go over there, fantasylife.com. A great show planned out for you today. We're going to go through my top 15 quarterbacks. Article is live on the website, so you can check it out. Who is number 1 and why I had so much trouble, Adam, in the 10 to 15 range. This could go any way. We're going to give you those names here coming up next. This is a great song. I need everyone to just stop what you're doing and realize that Sean King's Didn't Take You There is a top 10 song. You love this song, Adam.
Oh, I do. Finally, we play some music that appeals to me instead of all of that.
You do like this song, though, right?
I do.
Okay, great. I love this song.
I'm saying I'm used to hearing Taylor Swift and what's the other girl's name that you love?
Stop. You know the other girl's name.
Hold on.
You know it.
I
Don't
lost her
pretend
name.
like you don't.
No, I know, but I have a brain freeze right now.
Espresso. Come on.
Yes.
Starts with an S.
Sabrina Carpenter.
Yes, there we go. Wow, if I would have known this whole time, we could have been playing Sean Kingston. Oh, we've got a vibe the whole rest of the show. Akon, Sean Kingston, right? That's good. Neo,
Yes, that's good.
Pitbull. We should go to the Pitbull concert together.
All right.
You know, people show up to that concert in bald caps. I think we should do that.
All right, get the tickets. I'm in.
They can't be that expensive, right? Actually, I say that and they probably are.
Yeah.
So.
What's not expensive nowadays?
Well,
right?
that's true. Oh my gosh, if we went to the Pitbull concert together.
So wait.
That'd be fantastic.
So was it 2 years ago or a year ago that you spent $40 on the hot dogs?
Okay, I think. Oh my gosh, I think that's coming up. I think it's been 3 years.
Oh man.
Has it not?
Nah, it can't be. It's got to be like 2.
Okay, maybe 2 years then.
So I wonder how much they cost now with inflation.
I know, that's oh, man. If I ever see that hot dog guy again, I'm gonna be like, "Yo, come on, I trusted you." It was 2 hot dogs and a calzone, just to be very clear for everyone listening. And I got to expense it. I did not say what it was, but I said it was my dinner, and I did not say it was 2 hot dogs and a calzone, or else I would have gotten a lecture probably.
Like, wait a second.
They're like, you can't be doing this. You can't be doing this. Anyway, I see the vibes are immaculate. No one's going, well, a couple of these quarterbacks actually are probably in Cancun. Funny enough, I did see 49ers, like Christian McCaffrey's in Cancun right now. Mexico, George Kittle, all those guys. So some of these guys are going to Cancun. Let's just say that. But my top 15 quarterbacks are live at fantasylife.com. If you want to go and see that list, we're actually updating all of our rankings. So those are going to be in very soon here. If you want to see the full list of our rankings, myself, Matthew Friedman, Dwayne McFarland, Ian Hartitz, we're going to have those updated here in the next week or so. But Josh Allen, of course, I mean, the top 5, it's probably going to be different for everyone, but I think we can all agree on the people that are the quarterbacks that are going to be in there. Josh Allen is my QB1. I have Lamar Jackson QB2, and I think that that's going to be the one that people don't like as much in the top 5. Joe Burrow comes in at 3, Drake May at 4, and then Jaden Daniels at QB5. And I was, again, very close to putting Jalen Hurts ahead of Jaden Daniels. I was very close to putting Drake May at 2, but I just want to believe so badly in Lamar Jackson that things can turn around. So I've got Lamar Jackson there at 2. That's my top 5. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's going to be. I think the top 6 are pretty much going to be the same for everyone, just different order. Some people might have Hurts a little higher, some people might have Burrow a little higher, some might have Daniels a little higher. So I think it just depends on your preference. I don't think I'm going to have any of them. Is my
gonna be priced out of them?
Yeah, my initial thoughts. Again, I'll see where their ADP is, but I've always been someone that really does not take that elite quarterback, even though I did say this past year, if there was any year that I felt better about taking them, and good thing I didn't heed that advice because Lamar Jackson didn't work out. Jaden Daniels did not work out. I mean, Hurts, as we talked to, was okay, but it was underwhelming. And then Burrow got injured. Now, I did take Burrow in a super flex league at pick 6, I think it was. Yeah, 6. Okay.
I mean, it wasn't
but yeah, super flex league's a little bit different. Like if I'm picking at the top, I'll take a quarterback most of the time. And then if I'm at the back end, I might actually pass, and which is a risk because if you're picking 11 or 12 and you take 2 non-quarterbacks, you might not be happy with what comes back in round 3. But I have noticed that people have been a little bit less aggressive with the quarterbacks. But I think if you're in a home league and you've played in that league for a while and you know those teams are aggressive on the quarterbacks, then yeah, you have to adjust accordingly.
Yeah, I mean, you said it. The top 6 is going to be different for everyone, but you're usually going to see the same names. I don't know. This might be the season because I do, I also wait. I like to wait on quarterback. This past season was a lot of Drake May that I waited for, and I was obviously very happy with that. I was okay with waiting on one Dak Prescott as well. And so usually I wait, but then sometimes, Adam, I get FOMO and I say, wow, look at those people with Josh Allen. That must be really nice. But this might actually be the season unless things really change and we start to learn about these offensive coordinators. And we're going to learn a lot in these next few months. But I've said this before on the show, but man, it doesn't feel like we're going to have this quarterback that we are pounding the table for saying, hey, wait in your draft and go and draft this player, because last year it was Drake May. 2 years before that, it was Jaden Daniels, because there was no reason Jaden Daniels should have ever been going outside the top 10, but he was. And so this season, mix in the quarterbacks that are coming back, right? The veteran quarterbacks, and then mix in the fact that, the quarterback rookie class is not that good. It just feels like this is going to be a harder year to wait on quarterback to try and hit at the back end. Someone's always going to do it, right? We always have that quarterback that does emerge later in drafts that has a better season. We've talked about that maybe potentially being Jordan Love, and I have Jordan Love inside my top 15. That's probably one of the bigger changes I've made. I actually have him at 12 right now, QB 12 for Jordan Love. He's not in a lot of top 15s, but that's where I have him because that's where I think I'd want to go and grab him. Caleb Williams is there at 13. Matthew Stafford, if he does come back, is at 14, and then Bo Nix is at 15. But I will say, if I get news at any time during the offseason that Patrick Mahomes can officially come back, it's going to bump Bo Nix out of that spot because I'm going to put Patrick Mahomes closer to 8 or 9 if he is able to come back. But all that to say, it might be a tough year waiting on quarterback. And yeah.
Well, it looks like, I mean, when you say waiting on a quarterback, it depends like how long. Because again, the 8 to 15 range, I think there's some good ones in there. With Jordan Love, so do you see his pass attempts going up?
I do, but that means they'd have to get away from the ground game, right? I mean, they are so, they hit the ground hard with Josh Jacobs, but it would have to be, yeah, his pass attempts going up because he was, I wrote it out. He's fifth to last in quarterback pass attempts from last season. So that's what it would have to be, is changing that philosophy just a little bit.
Yeah, 425 pass attempts in 2024 in 15 games and 439 pass attempts in 15 games this past year. So that's what's keeping him out of the top 12. Whereas in 2023, he had 579 pass attempts and 32 touchdowns. So if they can just increase the pass attempts, I mean, he can get to that 30 touchdown level. And, he can run a little bit, not much, but, he can contribute at least something.
Yeah, and it's a big if right now, and it's January. These things are all going to change, but it is a big if. 439 passes in 2025, that's the 7th fewest in the NFL. If he even gets away from that a little bit, right, middle of the pack, it makes a huge difference here. They're still going to run the ball. They're still going to rotate that. I said it was they've got a deep receiving room, but it's just flat. No one ever stands out very much over there. Like, we've seen Christian Watson do it, sure. We've seen Jaden Reed hit big games, but it just feels like the team, after they draft Matthew Golden, first running wide receiver that they've drafted in the first round since 2001 or 2002, I believe, and then they don't even really utilize him. We kind of know what the wide receiver room is going to look like. But yeah, Jordan Love, my QB 12. I had a really hard time between the two of Justin Herbert and Trevor Lawrence as well. Those were two. So I've got Justin Herbert 9, Trevor Lawrence 10. Right now it feels a little bit too high, but I think we've talked about Justin Herbert before. People are probably going to be really high on this offense because of Mike McDaniel coming over, and because they know that there is a little bit of a change coming in now, and maybe a different philosophy because of how successful the offenses he ran were. I mean, they were successful with Tua Tagovailoa. He was creative. He made Tua look good when he could, and Justin Herbert's a huge step up at the quarterback position. So I feel like Mike McDaniel over there could be a good marriage, but I might be priced out of Justin Herbert next year.
Yeah, because I feel like that's going to be a similar sentiment where people are going to be very optimistic on Herbert because of the change. A lot of it has to do with the offensive line staying healthy, especially the tackles. That was a problem this year. And, Herbert got sacked 54 times. That was a career high. So we know he has a lot of ability, and there are weapons in this offense. And we have not seen him throw 30 touchdowns since his second year in the league in 2021. He had that 38 touchdown season, and we really haven't seen anything close since. Did run at a career best this year, 83 carries, most of his career, 498 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. So, yeah, there's a lot of ability there. So if you could think he can take that leap and McDaniel coming in changes things, you will see – I think there's going to be some hype on him where you will
For sure.
Yeah, he'll go around QB8, QB9, I think, in
Yeah.
a lot of drafts. And then others, I think you'll see him fall to 12, right? There'll be other drafts where people are higher on Caleb Williams, Trevor Lawrence, and take him over Herbert.
Trevor Lawrence is the same thing though. I mean, you're believing because it was very different halfway or a little more than halfway through the season, right? Because at the beginning, it just looked like it was the Trevor Lawrence that we've known for the past few years, that he was not going to live up to the expectations that we had from him coming in from his rookie season. But Liam Cohen, that's why it's so important too. It doesn't help us in fantasy, but sometimes patience is key with these quarterbacks getting into just new offenses with new coaches, new offensive coordinators. So obviously Liam Cohen halfway through the year, it really worked. That marriage looked amazing. And so you look at him from week 12 through the wild card round, Trevor Lawrence averaged 25.4 points per game. That made him the number one quarterback in fantasy over that span. He had 10% of the designed rush attempts and then had a 7% scramble rate. That was the big thing that I wanted to highlight in my article. Adam was saying that he got a lot more comfortable using his legs. And if he's going to be able to continue that next season, that is going to be good for us, because not only did, he give us really good finishes in total points, 9 rushing touchdowns on the ground. That just means that he was really good and way more comfortable on design carries and scrambles. And again, if he does that next year, that's going to be big.
He was the QB2 in fantasy from week 9 on.
Wow.
Think about that after the start that he had to the season. And it just took some time to grasp the Liam Cohen offense. And, sometimes players say that it takes multiple years to try and figure out when you get a new coach, new offensive coordinator. And Lawrence did it in season, and can't forget, Baker Mayfield had his 41 touchdown season with Liam Cohen. So, yeah, I think you're feeling pretty good about Lawrence. I'm actually surprised that he is not going higher, or
that he's at 10. I was just, I gotta warm up to the idea, Adam. It gets scary out there.
I know. I want to see where he goes in early drafts, because
I think he'll go at 7. To be honest with you, 7 or 8.
By the time like August comes, or in these drafts in February?
In February, I think.
Yeah, I could see it. Like, again, this is a range where someone might have Lawrence 7 or 8. Someone might have Herbert in that range. Someone might have Dak, and then Herbert could go 12. Lawrence could go 11. I mean, Caleb Williams to me is in that mix too. So that is a range of quarterbacks where it comes down to personal preference, and everyone will have a different range. Like, where do you have Caleb Williams?
I've got Caleb Williams at 13 right now.
13. Wow. You have Jordan Love over him?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
You got to make a stand, Adam. It's for the
I see that. You're definitely making
content.
Damn.
I know. It's early. Why not? Come on. It's January. These are going to change more than likely. I'm gonna. I don't know. I might stand on Jordan Love the whole rest of the offseason. But
well, let's see. So with Caleb Williams, the talent is there. We all see the throws. It's just a matter of consistency, because the inaccuracy is still there. I mean, he had 58.1% completion percentage, is not great.
Mm-hmm.
For fantasy-wise, too, basically, if he faced a bad defense, he took advantage of them, right? If you look at his best games.
As you should.
Dallas, did he face the Bengals? Yeah. He had 3 touchdowns in that game and 53 rushing yards.
Mm-hmm.
He had 3 touchdowns against Pittsburgh. But yeah, there's a lot of games of 1 touchdown or fewer here. So do want to see some more consistency. As great a season as the Bears had from a team perspective, it was okay for Caleb fantasy-wise. It was not great. I had him.
Yeah.
And especially down the stretch when that schedule got tough, I was not very confident using him. But to be fair, he did have multiple touchdown passes in his last 5 games.
He was someone that continued to get better as the season went on. And that's all you want to see with these younger quarterbacks, with new coaches coming in. You just want to see them progress and get better. And so I do believe that Caleb Williams can continue to take steps forward. And yeah, I just was a little bit cautious with ranking him, because I'm also nervous about being disappointed. And you're going to have big questions. And it's not even big questions on the offense. It's the team as a whole, right? It's going to be the continuity of the offensive line. And I think that's going to be really important for Caleb Williams next season. season. And just, if they're going to regress from some of those games that they played, we don't really concern ourselves with wins and losses in fantasy football, but some of those wins that they were able to get, a lot of people are already projecting, they say they cannot do that again. They cannot win these, close games and bring it down to the wire, the comeback wins. So that's going to be the couple of the things that I watch for going into the season for my rankings. Again, those top 15 quarterbacks live at fantasylife.com. We'll continue breaking them down, but first we got to go through some Super Bowl predictions and props from fantasylife.com. Gonna go through some of those here coming up next. What was that, Adam? You love who?
That was clearly edited. I said something else there.
I don't know. Can we hear it again? I think it was legit, to be honest with you. I think you said exactly that you love.
No, that Sabrina Carpenter is all you, not me.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it. Come on. No. How about you love Sean Kingston? I don't know. Some old throwbacks? That's a great
better.
song.
That's better than
it's gonna be
Sabrina.
No, it's not. Stop.
Yes, it is.
We love Sabrina on this show. Espresso. Come on. What are we doing here? Yeah, there we go. Chicka cha. It's so good. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. No, that sounds not edited at all.
Yeah,
I'm
not
gonna be
at all.
honest
Not
with
at
you.
all.
No, not at all. I think that
Very
was
smooth
real life. Yeah, it was good editing. Our producers rock. Super Bowl 60 score predictions and projections from Matthew Friedman. We always talk about our projections at fantasylife.com. That's where you can go and check them out. But Friedman has everything uploaded at Fantasy Life. So first of all, you want to go and check it out because it's just a great read. He's got articles over there as well. It's interesting when I was reading through his article though. So he has the score prediction set at the totals at 45.5. Seahawks 4.5. 4.5. Wait, yeah, the spread is 4.5, excuse me. But he's got the score 25-20, Seahawks winning. But his projections and the way that he's looking at this game is very interesting because he has said before his gut reaction is to take the Patriots in this one. Probably with the points because everyone else is literally on the Seahawks. But he pointed out that the Seahawks are not necessarily inevitable. And I do agree with that. Good quarterbacks have had success going up against the Seattle Seahawks. Of course, the big question is going to be their defense. But, some trends to watch are just Drake May and looking at these two quarterbacks and seeing who's going to outduel who. When you look at the fantasy point projection, they're very close. So he, again, is projecting for the Seahawks to win. But when we're looking at total points for fantasy purposes, total fantasy points, 71.4 to 70.1. And obviously, if we're talking quarterbacks, Drake May has the edge over Sam Darnold if you're doing drafts.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think. I think with May, he has that rushing ability, which really helps him. And we've seen him be pretty aggressive here in the postseason with 2 games of at least 10 rushing attempts. And he's going to have to run in this game as well. Might need him to supplement the running game. I think that's the concern here is, will the Patriots be able to run the football on Seattle? And we probably will see more Travion Henderson after he only played 4 snaps last week. That's probably going to scare a lot of people off. They clearly trust Stevenson more, but I would think they get him more involved. That might have had to do with the weather and just, trying to hold on to the football and not needing explosive plays, right? We know Henderson's the guy that can break the long run where maybe in that game they were just like, you know what? Let's just pick up 2 yards, 3 yards. If we have to punt, we'll punt because Denver's offense is not going to do anything.
Yeah, and with Stevenson, I mean, he has almost never left the field. He's got a 94% snap rate. I mean, they've just been really utilizing him. He's got 3-down ability. So if you're looking at projections or our rankings, Stevenson is really close to Kenneth Walker. If you're looking at guillotine leagues, if you're going to guillotineleagues.com and drafting, but Walker does have the slight edge. I was kind of sad because I was maybe hoping that Dwayne and Friedman were going to project Travion Henderson to have just a little bit more on the ground, but they're only projecting him to have 3 rush attempts in this game and 17 to Ramondre Stevenson. That's not great. I mean, maybe you want to bet on his yards and maybe you think that he's going to be able to break away. But yeah, we've only got him for three fantasy points in this game.
Yeah, I think he gets more. Because again, if you look back at the Texans game, he had 12 carries, and the Chargers game he had 9. Now, again, he didn't really do much in either game, so it's not like, well, he was having a couple of good games, and then they went away because of the game context, but Yeah, he's only averaging 2.4 yards per carry in the playoffs. So, but as we've mentioned, though, they're facing top defenses. This will be their fourth time in the playoffs that they're facing a top 5 defense. So it doesn't get much easier, but I think you want to at least give them a couple of opportunities to try and break that big long run. Again, we have not seen it in the playoffs. His longest run is 15 yards. And, we saw a couple times during the regular season he was able to break off a big play, but I think not as much as we had hoped.
Yeah, it was a little disappointing for what we've seen from him in the playoffs, but again, it's been good for Ramondre Stevenson. So he's going to be one of the top guys that you want to draft. I want to continue going through some of these projections and talk about, what the expectations are for Kenneth Walker. And if there are any hidden gems, I'm talking way down the depth chart. You might not be thinking about them, but we have some notes on some guys that you should pay attention to for this Super Bowl for props and predictions. We're going to give them to you coming up next. Oh. What a vibe. Adam, the vibes are immaculate today.
They have to be.
Songs. I mean, they have to be. We've got no football this week.
It's like
I know, we got no football this weekend. Yeah. We have to get the vibes up because it's kind of, it is just a little bit sad. What are we going to do? Well, you've got basketball. You're fine.
Oh, yeah, I'm good.
You don't care.
I have basketball. I have fantasy baseball prep. So
you're fine.
I have a lot to do. It's like doesn't slow down.
Yeah, all right,
you,
that's fine.
On the other hand, I don't know.
It's going to be... Yeah, I'm gonna sit around my house wearing my Seahawks gear and just.
Oh, we got a really good afternoon game tomorrow in the NBA. Spurs Hornets. Hornets have been on fire. Spurs. It's Prime Video though.
I might
hate
think
the
about
games on
no.
Prime.
I'm not gonna watch that. You know what? I'm gonna start shrinking. That's what I'll do.
Tomorrow. Oh yeah, you got it. I saw the first one.
Yeah, you said one episode a week, right?
Yeah, that's what. Which I
don't remember if they did that before, but I also I came in the game a little late. So the first season had already been out, but then I can't remember what was happening with the second season. I'll figure it out. But we've got great shows to watch, but we are still getting ready and breaking down Super Bowl predictions and props. So I wanted to go through Go Hard or Go Home here, fueled by Mike's Hard and Lemonade, the official drink of those who go hard for their league. And hopefully, Adam, the guys that go hard for the Super Bowl. So I said, hey, maybe there are some guys that we're not necessarily, some people might not be thinking about, because people are going to talk about Kenneth Walker, JSN, Ramondre Stevenson, Drake May, any other players that you might be looking around and saying, hey, maybe we should pay attention. The one that I saw Matthew Friedman write up and what kind of made me want to talk about this was looking at maybe a George Holani. Again, we can't expect him to go absolutely crazy. We've got him projected for 4 rush attempts, 15 rushing yards, obviously no touchdowns there, but they do have him projected for 2 targets and a reception here. So my thinking is that when you're looking at that, his line the last time I looked was set at 11.5 receiving yards. Maybe that's something we look at here for a guy that we know, Kenneth Walker is obviously going to be the guy in this offense, but Zach Charbonnet is not coming back. And in his absence, we know that they had to get Holani up there and in as their third down back. So I don't actually mind the 11.5 receiving yards. I think it's kind of interesting if he does, go hard or maybe even just catch a couple passes.
Yeah, I think it's certainly possible. I mean, he had 3 for 27 last week on 4 targets, only 3 carries for 4 yards. But I think in the passing game, that's where you could see him because they will take Kenneth Walker out for some third downs. Pass protection was one of the issues for him, which is why we see a lot of Zach Charbonnet. And Walker played 63% of the snaps. So it's not like all of a sudden he's going to 80, 85. He's still being taken off the field, and we do see Holani in there. So, yeah, I know I have him in Guillotini, where he's one of my starting running backs, which, again, This is Super Bowl, down to 1 game, so you're going to have to dig deep. So, yeah, I'm hoping that that does happen, and he can catch 2-3 passes and maybe get 20, 30 yards receiving. I'll take it.
Yeah, we're gonna manifest that. He's gonna go hard. Sam Darnold, who we've talked about here, and we're going to continue to talk a lot about, but his projections for Matthew Friedman: 220 passing yards, looks like 2 touchdowns, and 30 pass attempts, 20 completions for him for Super Bowl Sunday. The one I wanted to ask you here, if maybe he could go hard or go home, is if you talk about Sam Darnold's potential rushing yards. So the last time I saw this was last night, so it could have moved here, but the last thing I saw was 6.5 for Sam Darnold rushing yards. We don't see it early, we don't see it often, but it's just a question for me. If you're looking at maybe his rushing yards or his maybe over 2.5 rushes, is maybe something interesting. But if he does get out there, I feel like that's maybe something he can hit.
Yeah,
Or
he
you don't
has
like it?
at least 3 rushing attempts in 6 of the last 7 games. The
We've
one
got
that
him
he did it,
projected for three, too.
yeah, the one game he didn't was San Francisco, where obviously they were in control and he was coming off the oblique injury, which still, I guess, is an issue, not a major issue, but still limiting him just a little bit. So, if anything, that could be one. I think it's too dicey for me to play it.
Okay. Come on, you don't like Sam Darnold?
No,
You don't
I don't.
believe? Oh, come
I don't.
on.
I think he's gonna flop in the Super
No,
Bowl.
you
I
don't. You're
think
just saying that to be
you're seeing
mean.
at least 3 picks this
Oh my
game.
God. If I see three picks in this game, I'm gonna throw up. Like it's just gonna be so awful. There's no, he's gonna be fine. Stop it. Let me
Wait,
tell
hold
you
on. Let
this.
me see. What's
What?
his
Don't do the prop thing.
I
Don't look
do.
at
I
his
want to see what it
interception
is to
prop.
throw an interception.
I feel like that would be, well, what do they have that at?
I'm looking for it.
I will
Yeah.
just say I do like the rushing yards one. Over 6.5 seems doable.
Over six and a half rushing yards. You're gonna
25 of
play it?
his 38 rush attempts have come in the past 10 games. So I understand too that people look at that and they'll say, well, how many of those are kneel downs because those count as rush attempts. But when you remove that, it still looks good. What
That's
is it?
true. That's the one thing you do have to take into mind when you take any quarterback rushing prop is those kneel downs.
Yeah.
Very
Those can
important.
get you. People get mad about
Oh,
that.
there's been some really
What?
bad beats on those.
Oh, I thought you found the interception prop.
I'm
Don't
looking
ruin
for
my
it.
mood.
Where
I'm in a
how
good
does
mood.
the
I'm in a
pop
good
up?
mood. I don't think we need to do this. See, that's the world telling you don't look because he's going to have no interceptions, Adam. That's what we're looking at with Sam Darnold. We're going to the Fantasy Life Water Cooler
Minus one,
news and
minus 118.
get out of here. News and notes you need to know next. This is Fantasy Life, and this is the Fantasy Life Water Cooler. All the news and notes that you need to know, just like at fantasylife.com. That's where you can subscribe to our newsletter, 100% free, and check out all of our articles. We've got great ones over there right now. My top 15 quarterbacks are live. Dwayne McFarland's My Guys, who we're going to go through everything that you need to know for the Super Bowl as well. So make sure you go and check that out. We're getting close to being done with Guillotines as well. So if you want to jump in one of those drafts, it's the last draft for the Super Bowl that you can do. So guillotineleagues.com to go and do that. I was in one yesterday, Adam. It was so gross. Oh my goodness. You just had to take what you can get in some of those. Because by the end, by round 6, by round 5, I was shaking my head saying, what is happening here? It was fun, but it was stressful.
Yeah, it's the same thing as I'm setting lineups this week. I didn't do any new drafts, but I have several teams still alive, and
Nice.
yeah, it's pretty brutal. But what do you expect from one game? Like, look, each team's gonna
Exactly.
have at least each team has the starting quarterback, right? So that's the one good
Yeah,
thing.
that's true. That's
Tight
about it.
end is kind of rough. I mean, running backs, obviously, you're gonna have to start a Travion Henderson, a Holani.
Yeah. Even some of the receivers though, like
I know.
Patriots receivers specifically, I because obviously someone's going to step up in this game. It's just a question of making sure you're trying to figure out who because obviously so in our guillotines when we're looking at ADP, a lot of guillotine league players are taking Stephon Diggs first as the Patriots receiver to go and get, which I understand because it's Stephon Diggs, he's on this big stage, but I don't know if there's not some value in just waiting for a Keyshawn Booty. Again, these are going to be tough, and these players aren't necessarily going to break records in this Super Bowl. Maybe they do. I mean, but we've got here's how big the difference is. So we've got JSN projected for 15.8 fantasy points. Xfinity best 23.2. The next closest is Stephon Diggs with 8.2 fantasy points. And then it's Keyshawn Booty, and then it's Cooper Kupp, and then it's Rashid Shaheed. You've got 3 Seahawks and maybe 2 Patriots wide receivers that you're looking at for those.
Yeah, I think you throw Mac Hollins in the mix too.
That's right, Mac. You
He
can't forget
played.
about
I
Matt
think
Collins.
he played the most snaps of the receivers last week. He did run fewer routes though than some of those guys, but yeah, it is. It is rough. I mean, Diggs we've talked about, and he's been very underwhelming here in the
Hmm.
playoffs. And the Patriots offense obviously has not done much here in the postseason. They've been carried by the defense, but you figure in this game that they're going to have to do a lot more offensively if they want to win this
Yeah.
game. But yeah, Diggs has had 40 receiving yards or fewer in all 3 postseason games. He has 1 touchdown. I mean, look, it's been pretty bad, but the environment of those games have led to very low scoring games, not much offense on either side. Obviously, in Denver, with that blizzard in the second half. He only had 5 for 17. He did have a touchdown against the Texans. That was a great catch in the end zone. Great hands on that play by Diggs. And then against the Chargers, he was quiet with 2 for 16. So yeah, it's crazy that they've had this success. They've gotten to the Super Bowl and really have not gotten much out of their offense. Diggs 11 catches for 73 yards and a touchdown in 3 postseason games.
Yeah, that won't get it done for us in fantasy. That won't get it done.
But I also would not be surprised if he has like a huge game, especially if they win. Yeah, I mean, look, they've had 2 weeks off. I know they've they've slow played him. He was coming off the torn ACL. There were a lot of weeks that we were looking at his snap counts and we were like, what is going on here? I mean, there was a stretch where it looked like he was finally going to get going because, I was doing the overall rankings on Fantasy Life during the season and started to move Diggs up, started to feel really good about him. But every time we got some hope, it just went right back down. Like he had that game against Carolina in week 4, 6 for 101. Then, of course, the easiest revenge game in the history of the NFL, going at Buffalo in his return there, and he had 10 for 146. If I'm not mistaken, I think that was a Sunday night game. And I couldn't believe his prop. It was like in the high 40s. I'm like, are you serious? Like, this is the easiest bet ever. And he cashed very quickly. But then after that, 28 yards, 69, 14, 38, 46. And you're like, what the hell's going on here? Then he had 105, and then it was back to 20, 26, 26. He had 20 against the Bengals, 26 against the Giants. Even the second Buffalo matchup, just 3 for 26. So it's just been all over the place. And then he had 2 100-yard games in the final 3 games of the regular season to close it out. So, yeah, it's just been all over the place with Diggs where you were wondering if they were just scaling him back, trying to ease him in. And then when you felt good about him, it just went back to mediocre numbers. So at this point, though, again, Super Bowl, 2 weeks, you got to go all out here. And I'm sure Cardi B will be there cheering him on.
Perfect. Oh, you think she joins the halftime show? That would be fun. She's got a song with Bad Bunny.
I don't know. There's usually a surprise or two, right?
What are the odds on that?
I don't know.
That could be fun. It just, and it's a big question because obviously in our breakdowns, we've been talking a lot about, of course, Drake May, the quarterbacks and the defenses, though. That's really been the focus here. And of course, we mentioned all the turnovers and how both teams really need to clean it up. But in the regular season, this might just be another question of, or just a statement of, the Patriots can win this game if Drake May plays Superman. Almost like how we talked about Josh Allen over the past couple of games. You just need to put on the cape and you need to do what you did in the regular season. He threw for 4,394 yards, an average of 258.5 a game, led the league in completion percentage, yards per attempt, passer rating, 31 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. He did everything really well. Ball placement, everything. So it does feel like for them to have a chance to win this game, and I do, even as a Seahawks fan, I believe this is going to be much closer than people are putting on. I mean, people are putting the Seahawks on and thinking that they're really going to roll the Patriots over, and I just don't think that's going to be it. But in the postseason, the Patriots have won with their defense, and while that can still continue to be true, 8.6 points per game in the 3 wins, that's what they've allowed. Drake May's gone up against good defenses, and he hasn't been able to perform. So it feels like a Superman moment is going to have to happen for Drake May, but also couple that with one of his receivers stepping up, that'll alleviate a lot of the pressure on him as well. That's what has to happen.
Yeah, look, both defenses have been really good at limiting the explosive plays, and we know that JSN is capable of an explosive play anytime he touches the football. But you don't see a lot of explosive plays from the New England offense, right? So they're gonna have to, move the ball, keep drives alive, and hope like May can break a long run or somehow Booty can get deep and make a big play. But it's a tough matchup here.
It's definitely a tough matchup. I'm really excited for it. I'm nervous for it, Adam. I'm gonna get a lucky lasagna here in a little bit and make sure that that's ready to go for the Super Bowl. And then everything will be okay. But we're gonna continue breaking down that game, and of course, again, fantasylife.com. All of our projections are there and updated projected fantasy points, totals, everything for Matthew Friedman, Dwayne McFarland. It looks so great. So make sure you go and check that out. We are in the water cooler, so I'll go through just a little bit of news that we've had over the past whatever, 24 hours here. So the Eagles did hire the Packers quarterbacks coach, Sean Mannion, as their new offensive coordinator. 33 years old and has coached for just 2 years here, Adam. This is something we talked about at the top of the show, but just in case someone wasn't there, he was an active player, by the way, as recently as 2023. Doesn't mean he was, doing incredible things, but 2023 with the Minnesota Vikings and Seattle Seahawks. So this is a big rise for him. And again, we just need to see some kind of change for the Eagles. I hope that we can say that it can't get worse. But Adam, when we say that, teams and players do tend to show us that it could get worse. But last season was all full with Patullo, 19th in points per game, 24th in total offense, and then first in 3 and outs. So you just kind of hope that this new offensive coordinator come in, create stability, get better plays, and just be less predictable than last season. It was so predictable last season, it was kind of a joke.
Yeah, no motion, basic routes. So I think that's what they're hoping to find, the next young mind, right? We do see some of these guys with not big track records come in and be successful in the NFL. And that's what the Eagles are hoping here with Mannion, who, again, did play and coach under a lot of good offensive minds like McVay, Kubiak, Stefanski, and LaFleur. So if he's able to absorb from all of those guys and maybe put it together and turn the Eagles around. I hope not, but hey, that's just me.
Hey, come on. For fantasy, do you hope so? Come on. It'd be really fun to feel good about drafting Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, or Devontae Smith.
Yeah, because we know it was very frustrating this year if you had A.J. Brown.
Oh, my gosh. He didn't finish horribly, thoh.
I know. I mean, it was a slow start,
which is
and then
crazy for how he started.
I think it's also an indictment of the position this year, wide receiver, too, that you could look at A.J. Brown and go, oh, in points per game, he finished 12th at the receiver position, because it didn't feel like it. I guess because you had 3 really bad games out of the first 4 to close the season. From week 11 on, he had at least 11.8 points in every game, which is fine. Yeah. But I think, though, when you draft A.J. Brown, you're looking for several of those games over 20 points, and those even a 25, 30-point game. That's kind of what you expect out of him. And, he had 4 games of at least 20 points in PPR this year.
Yeah, but it just goes to prove how important it is to make sure you get good receivers early in drafts, because if you look at all the receivers and how they finished in fantasy in 2025, there's not usually a lot of shocks, right? We had a Puka Nacua breakout. When was that now? 2 or 3 years ago, 2 years ago. Yeah. So that doesn't happen often.
You don't get it a lot.
No, because look at these guys. It's Puka, JSN, Amon-Ra. I mean, the guys that could have finished here that you got discounts on or that were later in drafts were Chris Olave, and then if you want to throw Michael Wilson in there, you can, because he was a waiver wire guy. But those are really the two. All the other guys in the top here for wide receiver finishes are ones that go in the top of drafts. And that's why, again, when you look at how you're drafting, it's really important to anchor your team to depending on how many flex spots you have, getting 2 or 3 really solid receivers before you get out of the 5th round, 6th round.
Yeah, as much as the top running backs this year were successful, it's easier to find running backs in the later rounds, the mid to later rounds, that finish as RB1s or high RB2s like Travis Etienne, like Javonte Williams. It's way more difficult at the receiver position, which is why you see people drafting all these receivers early on, because targets are the most important thing. And for the most part, we know who's going to get the highest targets. It's a matter then of them staying healthy or just not disappointing, like Brian Thomas. But yeah, if you look at the points per game with the top receivers, like, you just don't find many that go outside the top 10 rounds. I mean, you had Wan'Dale Robinson, who finished in the top 20, and that's it. I mean, even Michael Wilson for the season on a per game basis was not in the top 20. He obviously had that great stretch, and that was someone you picked up off the waiver wire. So yeah, occasionally you could find someone, but you just look at all these guys, they're number 1 targets in their offense or number 2 on a great offense, like T. Higgins or Devontae Adams. That's basically what you're looking for. So yeah, it's much more difficult that's why I think a lot of times when you're in the 11th round and later on, that's why you want to take a shot with as many running backs as possible, because those backup running backs or third string running backs with an injury in front of them, if they work their way into a bigger role, just can be a productive fantasy player. A lot of times you don't see those backup receivers, if there's an injury, just automatically go into a number one role and finish as a top fantasy receiver. It just doesn't really happen.
Yeah. So it's good to note. And again, the wide receivers, they seem just a little bit more predictable. Of course, every couple of years, we're going to have a Puka Nacua breakout rookie season, right? A guy that's going so late, but it's really hard to pinpoint those. And obviously, we didn't have one of those this season.
And a lot of the guys that did, it was a short period. Like you mentioned, Michael Wilson, that was only basically a 6-week stretch where he did it. You could pinpoint, I guess, Alec Pierce as well, but it wasn't sustained the entire season. You know, he was still only averaged a little over 11 points per game at PPR. So like you can find these guys that maybe help you for a stretch, but as far as the entire season, it doesn't happen that much.
Yeah, exactly. So just something to think about. I know drafts are a couple months away, but always have that in the back of your mind. Some of the other news here, just to make sure you're up to date. Bills did agree with terms with Pete Carmichael Jr. to become their new offensive coordinator. So this is Joe Brady's first big hire as their new head coach. Just remember, Joe Brady is still expected to call plays for the Buffalo Bills, but Carmichael spent the last 2 seasons as a senior offensive assistant in Denver, and then he was with Sean Payton as their OC in New Orleans for more than 10 seasons over there. So he's got experience. Davis Webb did withdraw consideration for the Raiders head coaching job. So like we talked about yesterday, it looks like the Raiders and the Cardinals are just waiting on Clint Kubiak, and we'll see if he goes. Hopefully, selfishly, Adam, I hope he just stays. I think he said he was going to be a Seahawk for life and that nothing was going to change for him, but we'll find out. Some good news, though, that I did see that I wanted to finish out the water cooler with was that Seahawks GM John Schneider did say he hopes to bring Kenneth Walker back. Of course, they're not going to say anything differently right now, but it is kind of nice because sometimes, like I remember us talking to Kevin O'Connell just last year at the Super Bowl, and he said, yeah, we'd love to bring Aaron Jones back. And so it's been a really good year for Kenneth Walker, especially as of late. He's really come on, so it's going to be interesting. I think that, you know, when Zach Charbonnet went down, a lot of question marks popped up for this team. So again, Kenneth Walker's looked really good. He's been a key piece of this offense for this Super Bowl push, and we'll see if he gets to stay. If not, he's going to be one of the top of the top running backs on the market.
Yeah, it's interesting how things have changed because maybe they would have had a different perspective with Charbonnet healthy, but Walker has stepped up here in these postseason games. And look, those in fantasy circles are not surprised by this because there was high expectations for Walker by many people this year with Kubiak coming in. And we saw Walker go in the 4th round of many drafts and then saw the ire and frustration of those every single week watching as Charbonnet would come in and take away the touchdowns, and Walker wouldn't play enough, and it basically was a split for many weeks. But we all knew Walker was capable of doing what he has done in the postseason as long as they would give him the workload. It did not happen until Charbonnet got injury, which is unfortunate for those that had Walker this year.
Yeah, wasn't as fun in fantasy, but as a Seahawk fan, yeah, Kenneth Walker, come back. We're gonna be fine. If you see news here about Josh Allen, it was reported and confirmed, have foot surgery, but he should be fine. They said for reports for off-season programs. So he told reporters in a press conference yesterday that he had his 5th metatarsal repaired on his right foot. Again, we've talked about this before, Adam, but we're going to see a lot of players, they just get cleaned up in the offseason, right? They get their surgeries, they make sure that they're in line to rehab and do everything well. But he said he had a broken bone, just a little broken bone in there. So yeah, you might see that. Don't freak out because this is the time that they do that. It's the same kind of thing with Mike Vrabel said there's not much concern over Drake May's shoulder injury. He was estimated a couple days ago he would have been a non-participant. And then, of course, Sam Darnold's still working out that oblique injury. So he remained limited by his oblique injury. But all things that I think everyone was expecting.
Yeah, there's always going to be players going through procedures, cleanups. You're going to hear a lot of it. So this doesn't appear to be anything significant, and Allen should be fine. We knew he was banged up late in the year.
Yeah, all these guys. I'm surprised we didn't get more news about players. Maybe we'll wait over the next
It
couple
will
weeks.
happen. You'll
I
see
think
it.
it's going to happen because there were a lot of players that just, I mean, Baker Mayfield was banged up, Lamar Jackson. We'll hear about these guys in a little bit here. That was the Fantasy Life Water Cooler. Again, fantasylife.com is where you can go subscribe to the newsletter. Go to guillotineleagues.com. Start drafting a guillotini because it is the last time going into the Super Bowl that you can do those drafts. We're going to continue on. I want to break down some of my guys for Dwayne McFarland. Some of the guys that we agree with and some of the guys that we might have to be convinced that are going to be good in 2026. We've got names for you here coming up next. Oh my gosh, another great song because it is a great Friday right here. Fantasy Life on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. This is Usher. Yeah. He did a Super Bowl recently, right? A couple years ago?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. What a great song.
You going to watch the Royal Rumble tomorrow?
The what?
Royal Rumble.
No.
You never watch wrestling?
Oh, it's Neo, Adam. What are we doing?
Oh, yeah. Sometimes I get them mixed up.
Oh, my gosh. What are we doing? Now, Producer Ani, Producer Brendan aren't going to play these songs for us anymore. Dang it. Wait, Royal what? What do you say?
Royal Rumble.
Oh,
you don't know what it is?
From the read? No, I know what it is. I'm not going to watch it. But I will say at 12 Eastern, you can hear it on Cheap Heat Live. That's the read I just did. What is, no. Do you watch it?
So I don't watch wrestling like I used to, but the Royal Rumble is one of the best big events of the year.
Oh, that's cool.
So I kind of want to watch it.
Well, you should. Why not?
Although I have no idea what the matches are.
See, I don't.
I haven't watched in like a while. Well,
I love the enthusiasm. Like, I love fans of WWE and wrestling. Like, it looks really fun. I see clips sometimes from some of those really big events that they do, and it just looks like a time. It looks really cool.
It's a lot of fun.
Didn't you try to go to an event last year or something? You wanted to go to one of the WWE events or something?
No, I've been to a couple live, but not anything in a long time.
They honestly look really fun. I wouldn't even know where to start to get started. Because don't you need to know the storylines, or could you just hop right in? There's no way you could just hop.
There's actually a lot of coverage now. So
but there seems like you need to know a lot of the backstory for some of these people, right?
Yeah, you can a little bit. I think you can jump in.
Or else I'd just be sitting there like, cool, and then be like, no, this isn't cool. I'm like, oh,
you'd see everyone else reacting. You're like, oh, why?
I'd be like, yeah, no, this stinks. Or people will pop out because I've seen people like pop out and it's like their return, and I'll be like, who is that? And then I'd get booed out.
Yeah, that's usually what you see at the Royal Rumble because it's like 30 participants and one comes in every 2 minutes. So usually they'll yeah.
Oh, that's kind of sick.
You have to throw them over the ring, and the last man standing wins, and usually gets a title shot at WrestleMania.
What? Okay, that sounds really fun.
It is. No, Royal Rumble.
When is that?
Tomorrow. You just read it.
Oh, perfect. Well, I'm sorry, I forget things. Oh, perfect. Well, I might turn that on. We have no football. Might as well get started on something else.
Yeah, and it's early in the afternoon too, 2:00.
Oh, that sounds really fun. Okay, I'm gonna check that out. Well,
you're gonna be baking lasagna.
Well, I am gonna be, thinking about lasagna. I'll wear my Seahawks jersey around the house. That's what I told you. 2026, my guys, from Dwayne McFarland. This article is live at fantasylife.com, and we're each gonna have one of these articles come out sooner rather than later. Myself, Ian Hartitz, Matthew Friedman. Dwayne's again is live and 100% free. So I kind of wanted to go through some of the players that he wrote up and see if we agree, if we could get on board and say, okay, we could get back to drafting this player, or if we would have to be convinced. The one that I'm really going to have to be convinced, Adam, that he wrote up as one of his my guys, RJ Harvey for the Denver Broncos. And I might have to be convinced about looking at RJ Harvey and saying, I don't think he's ever going to become a my guy, but he is one for Dwayne McFarland. And we remember he took over the lead role after week 11. That's when J.K. Dobbins went down with his injury. 9-game sample, including the playoffs, 14.2 fantasy points per game. He was involved in the passing game, 13% target share, 22% targets per route run rate. But he just, I don't know, Adam, he wasn't efficient enough for me. And of course, there can be changes. And if J.K. Dobbins, because he was signed to if I remember correctly, he had a 1-year deal. So he could maybe not come back. And then, of course, that opens bigger questions. But what do you think about RJ Harvey being a my guy for Dwayne?
Yeah, he was disappointing. There's no question about it. I think people were very excited when he was going to take over this lead role, right? Because early in the season, they were frustrated, like, oh, too much Dobbins. Where's Harvey? And I even remember week 1, he had a 50-yard run.
Yeah.
And then we didn't see him involved as much, and it took Dobbins going down for him to really seize control in that backfield. But yeah, it was very underwhelming. 3.7 yards per carry on the season. I was surprised at the lack of explosive plays. I thought we would see more, and we just really saw a 40-yard run, a 38-yard run. I was also disappointed with the lack of involvement in the passing game. I thought we'd see more there. So it still was his first year, but yeah, I don't think I could say a my guy just yet.
Not yet. I am looking. So he's the RB20 off the board as an early round 5 pick. And the other thing that Dwayne always preaches is that efficiency, even though we say he wasn't efficient as a rookie, efficiency can be a little bit, fickle is how he describes it, right? There's untapped potential. You can say that he's going to improve in his second season. So I'm not necessarily saying I'm not going to draft him. I'm definitely going to have RJ Harvey on some of my teams because again, J.K. Dobbins only got a 1-year contract. Maybe they do bring him back. But there's a chance that RJ Harvey is the top option here. It's just been, and it's been disappointing at him because the last 2 years, if you've drafted Broncos running backs, you've been disappointed because we had the same conversation with Javonte Williams, who had the backfield to himself, essentially. Jaleel McLaughlin was still involved, but we haven't had a really solid Broncos running back come out of there in a couple years.
Yeah, and he notes that when he takes over the lead role in week 11, he averaged 14.2 fantasy points per game when you include the playoffs. But a lot of that was touchdowns, right? Mm-hmm. He had 12 total touchdowns on the season. None in the postseason. Struggled in the postseason, just 3 yards per carry. But a lot of those points came from touchdowns.
Yeah. Like I said, if round 5, I think that's a good price. To be honest, if he gets higher, if we're talking round 4, round 3, that's going to be expensive. So I want to see where he actually ends up. And it's someone I'm paying close attention to, especially with free agency with J.K. Dobbins. Another one of Dwayne's my guys, Bashaw Tutin. We're going back to Tutin, okay? And this is, the idea here is that, again, Travis Etienne is an unrestricted free agent, and Dwayne is basing this off the idea that Travis Etienne is gone, no longer a Jacksonville Jaguar. And then you look at Bashaw Tutin and you say, okay, if they don't add another back, and that's, again, a big if, this can all change in the next couple of months. He's saying that he's going to be betting on Bashaw Tutin because, this might be one of his times. Again, this is you've got solid running backs coming out as rookies, so they might look to add in the draft, but he said that he wants exposure to Bashaw Tutin now rather than waiting and seeing his stock kind of climb.
No, it makes sense. I think if you are doing these early drafts, and a lot of people do before these free agent moves, there are times you're going to be a big winner and there will be times you're a big loser. Now, in this instance, if you are getting Tutin at this price right now, and then all of a sudden Etienne does depart and sign elsewhere, and Tutin becomes the lead back in this offense that we expect to take another step or still be as good after they picked up that Liam Cohen offense and Lawrence played that well, yeah, you're going to be a winner because Tutin will skyrocket up. Yeah. He will not be RB29, clearly. He'll move way up. And, a lot of people had high hopes for Tutin going into this year. He was a guy that there were probably some drafts where Tutin went before Etienne.
Oh, I think so.
Yeah. So there were, people were down on Etienne like, oh, well, he's coming off a really bad year. And, this coaching staff came in and brought in Tutin. He's going to be the guy. And then Tank Bigsby got traded. So, yeah, that was like people forget because now we saw the results and like, oh, yeah, Etienne was great. No, there was a lot of people who were taking Tutin before Etienne. So, yeah, I do think this is a really good one, especially if you do those early drafts because that price will only increase substantially if Etienne does leave.
Here's one that I know. I don't even think that we could ever convince you to go back to this wide receiver because one of Dwayne McFarland's my guys, again, this article live at fantasylife.com, is Zay Flowers. Can I interest you in one Zay Flowers in the year 2026 if you haven't liked him for the last 2 years? So Dwayne is saying one of his favorite parts about betting on Flowers is that you're buying him at his floor. So wide receiver 21 right now in drafts. So I get that the price could be technically right here. Shockingly, he was wide receiver 13 in 2025. Doesn't necessarily feel like it. But what do you think?
Total points, though.
Yes, total points.
Points per game. He was 18th in PPR.
So he had a good target share, a 30% in 2025, ranked 40th though in air yards, 69.7 yards per game. Could we interest you? Is there a world where Adam Ronis says to himself, yeah, I want to draft Zay Flowers this year?
Here's the thing, and this is the same thing I say every year, because I feel like the last couple of years, oh, breakout for Zay Flowers.
Yes.
And people might say that he did break out this year. I mean, he had 1,211 yards, 86 catches, and that's what Lamar Jackson, not being great and missing time. I don't see how he can take that. Now, again, if you want wide receiver 15 to 20 and you're cool with that, fine. But how is he going to be a wide receiver 1 if he doesn't score touchdowns? That's my biggest problem with Flowers. Where are the touchdowns coming from? Now, touchdowns can be fluky, right? Maybe he gets to 8 or 9. He's at 5, 4, and 5. He just doesn't get targets in the red zone. We know what they're going to do there. They're throwing it at tight ends. They're running it with Derrick Henry. They'll run it with Lamar Jackson. So unless he's getting these long touchdowns and, getting a few of them, like how does he take a step up? How does he get to another level?
Mm-hmm.
That's my problem.
I'm with you.
And unless you feel like he's going to get 100, 110 catches, 1,400 yards, 118 targets this year, 116 the year before. So, like, he's not a guy that is going to get 140, 150. The target share is nice, but the passing pie is smaller on Baltimore.
Yeah.
So, again, it was a very good year. Like, I think if you drafted him, you're probably happy. But I just don't see another level. Like, I don't see 8 to 10 touchdowns.
Yeah.
That's my problem.
And here's the thing. I think people are, again, it's going to be another year where people are back in on Zay Flowers because of the coaching change. I think Harbaugh.
Well, they're going to look at his
out,
numbers this year too.
And they're going to look at his numbers and they're going to say his numbers were great. They're going to have a new offensive coordinator and everything's going to get better. So that's how I see people, going back. I don't necessarily hate wide receiver 21, but I never want to walk out with drafts as my wide receiver 2 being Zay Flowers. If he's in my flex, okay, makes it a little bit different, and it's a little bit better to stomach for me. But if I'm looking at on the board and Zay Flowers is my wide receiver 2, I'd get a little bit nervous about it, just like I think people have been the last few years with him, because like you said, no touchdowns, and it's just been up and down.
Yeah,
not necessarily
again,
excellent.
Yards were great and it improved, but I just don't see like an 8 to 10 touchdown season out of him. So
yeah,
you're going to need a similar repeat of last year with the receptions and the yards. And again, I think if you're drafting someone in that area, I think you will hope that they have a higher ceiling, or that's what you're hoping for when you draft them.
You would
Again,
hope. I don't.
Yeah,
they re-signed Mark Andrews too. We can't forget that was in December.
Which
I mean,
I
was shocked. I know. If there was some movement in some of their personnel and maybe Mark Andrews wasn't coming back and I said, okay, maybe he's going to get a little bit more in the red zone. But they signed Mark Andrews to a 3-year, $39.3 million extension. Like, he's staying around. And I thought he was going to be someone like we're going to be talking about with maybe a David Njoku that was going to be on the move. So I was shocked. And Dallas Goedert could be on the move, but they're keeping Mark Andrews around. So it doesn't necessarily open it.
When I saw news of that contract, I had to check multiple accounts to make sure
I thought it was
real.
fake.
That's how surprised I was by it.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I didn't necessarily understand it, but whatever.
He's a descending player.
How old is he?
I don't get it.
Because
30,
Mark Andrews.
He's actually younger than we think. I think he might be 30, 31.
Oh, he is 30. Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought he was 33. I mean, maybe that's why, though, because when we talk about wide receiver age cliffs, it's 30, but at tight ends, they actually get better as they age. So maybe that was the thought process here. 30 years old, you get a good 3 years out of him. I don't know. I think it's a little bit of a stretch.
Catch went way down this year. Again, I know Lamar missed time, but he didn't strike me as a guy you wanted to sign for that money. Especially you had Isaiah Likely there,
exactly.
Who's a free agent now.
He's on the move. I'm going to be really excited to see actually where he does end up. Because when did he get hurt last year? He was injured, or he came into the season injured, right?
Yeah, he came off. Was it foot surgery, I think?
Yeah. It wasn't. So he came in banged up. But if he is on the move, I'm going to be really excited, honestly, to see where he lands. Isaiah Likely to the Chiefs. What do you think? We'd be drafting him pretty high.
Yeah, he actually had surgery in July.
Oh, okay. Wow, that was late for someone to be doing that. So did he get hurt during training camp then, or was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
The training camp practice, teammate stepped on his foot.
The worst. We've gotten a lot of that recently. players running into other players and them getting hurt. We're going to
took out Worthy.
Exactly. Speaking of landing spots, though, maybe Isaiah likely is heading to the Kansas City Chiefs, but I want to talk about some of the best landing spots for other offensive players. If Kenneth Walker is going to be on the move, where should he land? Same with Mike Evans, George Pickens. We're going to break down those landing spots here coming up next. A lot can change in 5 years. The price of your internet, though, should not. Lock in your price for 5 years. No contract needed with Xfinity. Sports are unpredictable, like we've always said, and your internet price should not be. Get a reliable price for a reliable connection. Lock in 5 years of predictability because, again, a lot can change. Championships are won. The Seahawks are winning, hopefully this weekend or next weekend. But no matter what changes in 5 years, the price of your internet will stay the same. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Restrictions apply. Select plans only. Broadband report May 2025 XB6 Plus. It did fit right. It's 8:44 right now. That still stands.
We need a
Pretty
remix.
good.
Instead of 22 degrees, it's 8 degrees. A little
Is
bit
it
colder.
actually? Oh my gosh. Are you guys okay?
Yeah.
Let's ask the class. Has Adam turned on the heat at his place? Answer: no. What's the temperature right now in your place?
It's definitely cold. I don't know if you've noticed. I've been wearing hoodies.
I
this
have been
week on
looking
the
at
show.
the hoodies this week, and the hoodies, like, mind you, everyone, they're thick hoodies. They're not the just a little throw on. They're big hoodies.
I did. So one night I put on the heat for 20 minutes before bed.
Okay, good for you.
That's it.
Because
But I
it
did keep
was
it on all
under
night.
60 degrees.
Did what?
Because it was under 60 degrees, probably.
Oh yeah, it definitely was.
Adam, you need to figure it out. That
What do you
is
mean?
insane.
I just don't like
Why would
heat.
you live? But Adam, that's freezing. That is so cold. So you have to walk around your place with shoes and socks on.
Socks? Yeah, no shoes.
Okay. Oh, that sounds cold. It could not be me.
I sleep with a short sleeve shirt, no hoodie. So
Oh, no hoodie. That's good. If you were having to sleep with like multiple layers, I would just say that you need to seek help because that would be crazy. Do you want to know how what I'm at today, or not really?
73.
I got a nice 80-degree day
Oh,
today.
my
I'm gonna go on
goodness.
a walk. Gonna go to the beach today. Actually, I am going to the beach today.
Yeah?
That's funny. Yeah, I'll send you a picture so you can be sad.
I gotta wait like 5 months for the beach.
Yeah, at least. Yeah.
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 May is a possibility. Some May
Okay,
is.
that's nice.
There's some May weekends.
When does
where
softball start? April?
April.
But
yeah,
even
April.
then, we've talked about this. That is
Oh,
too
no,
early to be
it
starting
is.
softball. That's
There's
got to be freezing.
There's some. April's tricky, right? You could get 70 degrees, you could get 60,
Yeah.
but you could also get 40 and windy, which
Pass.
is not fun at all.
That just seems way too early. See, you could come over here. You could be playing softball year round, 80-degree day. It's lovely.
That's the one appeal of going to a
know.
warm state is
know.
playing softball year
I'm
round.
just
That
saying,
is
you
a lot of fun.
You can join producer Ronis, who's coming for. He's going to San Diego for Padres opening day.
Yeah, that's
Could
like
be
his
fun.
annual tradition now, going to
Well,
San Diego.
it's really that is a top. That's in my top 5 ballparks for sure. I haven't been to as many as I'd
What
like.
is number 1?
Seattle. I'm
Oh, that's kind of biased. What's
especially-
number 2?
probably Petco.
That's
It's a really nice
yeah? Okay.
stadium. The food's good. Yeah. It's really
Yeah,
good.
food is very important for you, I noticed.
Oh, food is. I mean, if we're doing rankings with food, it's the Angels would be top 5, but they're not
Really?
a top 5 ballpark. But yeah, the food at Angel Stadium is very good.
Yeah, I need to get
You have
out
to have something for
San
watching a bad
Francisco for their ballpark,
Yeah,
San
that one looks
Diego.
cool. San Diego's fun. I went
PNC,
to
Pittsburgh, though, is like,
Yes.
I want to get there.
that looks
Everyone
cool.
raves about that.
You really should go to Seattle. I mean, as much as I'm biased, T-Mobile Park, known as Safeco, is fantastic. You get views of the water. You get fish and chips, some chowder, garlic fries. Oh, it's so good. We're close.
they have
We're
a
close to
cookie
baseball.
bucket?
No, I've already submitted, though. I've sent an email. I said, hey, Mariners, if you're not going to give us a World Series, can you at least bring a cookie bucket into the
All right,
stadium for
I
me?
guess I'll have to get one at City Field for you.
Yes, please do. Please do. We're going through, speaking of, I mean, good Seattle spots, D, good Seattle players. Kenneth Walker, look at that. Oh my gosh, it's Friday, but I'm still locked in, Adam. Don't worry about it. Landing spots for free agents. I saw this article on PFF, so just kind of wanted to bring it up of their potential landing spots for some of these free agents that would, affect us in fantasy football. They had Kenneth Walker, best landing spot, Kansas City Chiefs. I will be so mad, Adam, if not only the Seahawks lose Kenneth Walker, but then he goes to the Chiefs. We haven't had, last season was awful. Isaiah Pacheco, Kareem Hunt. It was just, Kareem Hunt obviously finished better than Isaiah Pacheco, but it was bad. You're waiting on them to kind of get one of those guys to get him going.
Yeah, I think any top running back is going to be linked to the Chiefs, right? We've also
Yeah.
heard Brees Hall,
And wide
but yeah,
receiver.
yeah. So this would obviously be really good for the Chiefs and Kenneth Walker, and we keep waiting for Walker to get that full workload, and you wonder again if it was just Seattle knowing him very well and saying, "Hey, we need to keep him healthy." Look, it's worked. You can say whatever you want.
It
Yes,
has.
people in fantasy were frustrated, but it's worked out to perfection for Seattle that Walker is healthy now as they get ready for the Super Bowl, and they do not have to worry about limiting his touches for this game. They can
Yeah.
just go all out. It's the last game of the year, and they can say they want him back in free agency. We'll see. But of course, the Charbonnet injury does make it a little bit more likely that they make a bigger push to keep Walker. But yeah, him in Kansas City, yeah, I think everyone would like that.
I wouldn't. I would hate it. But yeah, for fantasy purposes, he's going to be expensive next year no matter what. Yeah, no matter where he lands, he's just going to be one of those guys because, a running back needy team is going to go after him. So again, Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco are also free agents. Again, the free agent class for running backs is probably better than the wide receivers and the quarterbacks, but they're in the market for a running back and they need a playmaker back there because, again, last season was absolutely awful. I've got a few more names, though, that I definitely want to hit on. Speaking of Brees Hall, they've got a landing spot for him, but it is not Kansas City, and it might be a surprise to some people. Same with one Malik Willis and George Pickens as well. We're going to break down those names and those landing spots for those players here coming up next. Adam, what do you know about this song? You know this one?
Yeah, I've heard this song.
It's a great song. Jay Sean. Vibes are immaculate. My goodness, what good music. Shout out to Brendan.
Yeah,
Shout
about time. Got rid of the Sabrina Carpenter, Taylor Swift stuff. What's that other girl? What's the other one?
Chapel Roan.
Yeah,
I didn't
got
expect
rid
you
of
to
all
know.
that stuff.
Get out of here.
Friday.
Those are still. I was like, this is my favorite Friday that we've had. Oh yeah, there it is. Chicka cha. Wait for it. Wait for it.
No, I don't.
I think it was unedited. You love Sabrina, and it's okay for you to admit it.
Anyone who knows me clearly believes that was
I think they know.
Legit and real.
I've heard from, Truck and everyone that you do listen to that all the time.
Yeah, all the time. Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, there's nothing you can do to change our minds here. We've got final landing spots going through the free agent landing spots. This is an article that I saw on PFF and just kind of wanted to see where some of these guys might land here. A couple of surprising ones. So Brees Hall, and this actually isn't the first time I've seen him linked to New Orleans, but I've seen Brees Hall to New Orleans a few times here, and there's a lot of reasons for this. Again, Brees Hall is just one of those players we're going to talk about all off season, whether he's on the move or whether he's not. We kind of thought that maybe he was going to do that they were going to send him at the trade deadline last season, but it didn't happen. And then the Saints are obviously in a period where Alvin Kamara, he was hurt. When did he get hurt? And then he never came back. And it was something that we said before. We said, it feels like if Kamara because they were losing, he was either just going to sit because of his injuries or they weren't going to bring him back because they didn't want him to get injured. And that did happen. We saw Devin Neal step up, but they are in the market potentially for a running back. If Alvin Kamara, I think he's going to continue to play, but they need someone else out there that's going to be a little bit more. I don't even want to use the word trustworthy because I still think Alvin Kamara could be good, but he's getting older.
Yeah, look, the Kamara thing was easy to see coming. They did it the year before, and that was really why I was hesitant to draft him. Also getting older, didn't think he'd repeat. Yeah, the Saints got nothing out of their backfield this year, so they definitely are going to bring someone in. And we know Brees Hall, the talent is there. He's obviously been held down by the Jets and the ineptitude of their offense. So, yeah, Hall is we're just kind of waiting to see where he goes. So Chiefs have been mentioned as well. So there's a lot of teams that could use Brees Hall.
How much would you hate George Pickens going to the Atlanta Falcons? That was one that they wrote up as well.
Yeah, obviously I would hate that. Want to see him back with Dallas, obviously, was a good combo that worked. And Pickens had his best season. Yeah. Not surprisingly, I think we all knew leaving Pittsburgh, he could have gone to almost anywhere outside of the Jets and put up better numbers than he did in Pittsburgh. So, yeah, I don't want to see that. But, yeah, Pickens and Drake London would be
It'd be interesting.
Pretty deadly combo.
That would be how much. I mean, if that did happen, Pickens would not go that much past Drake London in drafts. Like, he would not go that far after.
No, I mean, you're seeing that. I think you're going to see that now. I haven't seen what the early ADP is for Pickens, but I'm assuming he's going to go second, third round, right? He was going. I mean, there were drafts this past year you could have gotten him in the 5th, maybe the 6th. He started to move up as we got closer to the season, but I was just stunned at the price of Pickens. Like, we talk. I was like, why is he going so late? Like, it was easy.
I know you said
see.
it every time. You said it every time.
Yeah,
I think people were. I mean, listen. I think people were worried about CeeDee Lamb and thinking about how it had been a while since we've seen Dak Prescott truly give us, 2 really good fantasy relevant wide receivers. But that was the thought.
Talent.
Yeah, exactly. Though.
They've been searching for number 2 for a while.
Exactly. You had to look at the talent. And this is going to be, I mean, it's a big season for Michael Penix Jr. Hopefully he's able to start the season, but they've got, that's a big question there of how much they paid for Michael Penix Jr. in the draft and if he's going to be able to develop as a passer. We've seen it there, right? I mean, him and Drake London, when Drake London was healthy, it was there. But yeah, if George Pickens lands there, it will help Michael Penix just get better. But we definitely have to see that.
Yeah, I think, though, we would agree the best landing spot is for him to remain in Dallas. We've already seen him produce.
1,000%. Just kind of like if they were going to keep Javonte Williams, I wouldn't be mad about that either. Let me give you one more here. Mike Evans going to Buffalo. Mike Evans being a Buffalo Bill to end his career. I would assume he just stays in Tampa and then he ends his career with them. But if he is on the move, that would be kind of interesting because Buffalo's going to at least try to get one of these receivers in free agency.
Yeah, and a guy that can go down the field, which they've been lacking as well. So yeah, that would be fun.
It would be kind of fun. I'd be back to draft Mike Evans.
I still worry about his injuries. It's hamstring injury 2 years in a row, 32 years old. So that's the only thing. He's going to miss games. Like, you can't pencil him in to play the entire season. So that is the one concern I do have.
Yeah, but the Bills cannot stretch the field. They need someone out there for Josh Allen. They need anyone. Appreciate everyone hanging out with us this week. It was such a fun week. We're going to be back same time on Monday. Get your lucky lasagnas ready. Get everything ready. Go to fantasylife.com. We'll see you then.